Okay, good afternoon. This is a joint committee hearing between the Committees on Labor and Technology as well as Public Safety and Military Affairs. It is Monday, February 3rd. It's 3 p.m. We're in conference room 224 with the 4 bills on the agenda. Okay, this meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committees will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday, February 7th at 3 p.m. and a public notice will be posted. Okay, and there will be a 2-minute testifiers limit. Okay, welcome everyone. Up first, Senate Bill 470. Okay, relating to deferred retirement for police, establishes a deferred retirement option program to allow qualified officers who are eligible for retirement to continue working. Okay, up first we have ERS.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. I'm Tom Williams, the executive director of the Employees Retirement System. Appreciate the opportunity to, first of all, stand on our written testimony, which illustrates significant concerns about the DROP program as proposed. We don't have any practical issues against DROP plans in general, but just the way in which the DROP plan as proposed negatively affects the financing of the ERS. I think most of you are aware that the ERS has a $14.1 billion unfunded liability, and the DROP plan would allow that employer and employee contributions, which would otherwise go to the ERS, that those contributions cease during the period of this DROP plan. A big portion of those contributions are used to amortize the unfunded liability. And we've provided the impacts in our testimony with some alternative funding scenarios. No funding would increase, no contribution increase would increase the cost by about $1.9 billion. Contribution increase to keep it at 25 years less, but 10.1% increase in the police rate from 41 to 51.2%, and even a further increase if we were to stay at the current 22-year funding level. So that constitutes our major concerns as designed, and I'm available to answer questions you might have.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, up next we have the Attorney General, Elmira Zhang.
Good morning, Chair Aquino and Elefante and committee members. We submitted testimony. As indicated in our testimony, there may be significant and unpredictable impacts on the ERS's tax qualified status. There also may be concerns with respect to the Internal Revenue Code and the Age Discrimination and Employment Act. Given these risks, we urge the committees to provide the ERS an opportunity to petition the IRS for a private letter ruling. Beyond that, I am available for any questions should the committees have any.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, up next we have Maui Police Department, Police Chief John Peltier. Okay, written testimony and support. Okay, we have Councilmember Addison Bulo-san. Okay, in support. Okay, Councilmember Bernard Carvalho, Kauai County. Okay, also in support. Barry Bushell. Okay, HPD. Okay, also in support. Okay, Felicia Cowden. Okay, in support. Tyler Henshaw, Kauai Police Department. In support, Jermaine Kalamayan. Okay, Ronald Lombardi. Jose Gaceta. Nakia Chinyao Newton, all in support. Okay, Thomas Adrians. In support, Thomas Ako. As well as Shopo President Robert Cavaco. Okay, and support Nahilani Parsons, HSAC. Okay, and support Victor Ramos. Okay, with comments and colleagues, we do have a good number of folks, I believe, all in support. Okay, I do believe we have a Romar Lagamo, okay, who signed up to be here in person. Is Robert here? Okay, Robert's not here, but colleagues, he did turn in testimony in support. Any others wishing to testify? Senate Bill 470. Okay, seeing none. Colleagues, any questions?
Nobody from Shopo, I say. Anybody from Shopo? Nobody.
Vice Co-Chair, you have a question? Okay, I have a quick question for the ERS, please. Thank you, Executive Director, for being here. Has there been any studies performed that looks at any kind of drop program here in Hawaii? And we understand the reasoning for this, yeah. But has there been any studies that's been done?
Chair, it's my understanding that a drop program was proposed, it's somewhat dated, I believe it was 2003, and it was intended to be a plan that would have neutral impacts on the ERS. And it was concluded, I believe in the study, which I've read, that it was very challenging to have a program that would have no impact on the ERS. It would require either continuation of contributions, such as I've alluded to, or a deposit into the drop program of only a portion of the accrued retirement benefits, so that rather than 100%, maybe you put 40% of the benefit in. Because the result is that through these drop programs, we're paying people sooner than we ordinarily would. The retirement benefits, meaning that there are shorter periods, we pay benefits longer, but they also make contributions for shorter periods. And the two of those things result in significantly increased liabilities.
So, and thank you for that. Is there currently a prohibition, a moratorium on benefit enhancements currently in statute?
Chair, yes, there is. There's a prohibition that disallows or would recommend no enhancements until the ERS is 100% fully funded, which is targeted to be 2046 or 22 years from present.
Okay, thank you very much. Members, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 828. Okay, relating to workers' comp medical benefits. This would expand workers' comp medical benefits for firefighters to include coverage for, I can't pronounce that, okay, or mesothelioma of the respiratory system, okay? So this would expand workers' comp. Okay, up first we have, okay, Director, Department of Labor and Industrial Relations.
Good afternoon, Chair Aquino, Chair Elefante, Vice Chair Lee, Vice Chair Wakai, and committee members. I'm Jade Butay, Director of the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. We stand on our testimony in support of this measure to ensure first responders get medical treatment for cancer or other diseases related to firefighting duties. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Director. Okay, up next, we have Hawaii Firefighters Association, Celeste on Zoom.
Yes, they're available on Zoom, Chair.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Chair Aquino, Chair Elefante, members of the committee. Thank you so much for hearing this bill. This is one of our biggest bills to expand the coverage for workers' comp for cancers that are diagnosed in firefighters. Like our testimony says, occupational exposure is incredibly detrimental to their health. They are also, in addition to bloodborne pathogens and respiratory exposures from even just sitting in the fire station because they don't have adequate diesel exhaust systems to take that out of the station. It is imperative that our firefighters are protected. in the workplace. So we really appreciate your support. And if you have any questions, you can ask me or you can get back to me. And in relationship to the bill before this, yes, the Hawaii firefighters did have a drop initiative way back when. And we do have a study that was done, I believe it was by the consultants, the actuarial consultants for the ERS at that time.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. Thank you very much. Any others wishing to testify? Senate Bill 828. Okay, seeing none, colleagues, any questions? Okay, seeing none, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Our next bill is SB 730. This is relating to allowance on service retirements. First up from Deputy Attorney General Lori Tanagawa. Aloha, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Lori Tanagawa, Deputy Attorney General. The department submitted written comments to the committees when we included suggested recommendations should the bill pass out of committee, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director for BNF, Luis Salavero.
Good afternoon, Chair. Louis Salveri, Director of Finance for the State of Hawaii. The department will stand on its submitted comments and we will defer to the Attorney General process of proceeding.
Okay, standing under testimony with comments and deferring to AG. Thank you. Executive Director Thomas Williams for ERS.
Yes, Chair. ERS stands on its written testimony and the bill stands.
Okay, stands under written testimony with comments.
That's correct.
Comments, okay. Director, our new director for Department of Law Enforcement, Mike Lambert. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Aquino, Chair Elefante, and members of the committee. We stand in strong support. I just came on today, but my team briefed me that there will be an amendment. So we want to actually remove the Sheriff Division investigators as they don't exist, and with the reorg, they won't be added. So just that amendment, and again, I'll be available for any questions.
Okay, thank you. And Director for DHERD, Brina Hashimoto.
Good afternoon, Chairs. Brenna Hashimoto, Director of the Department of Human Resources Development. We submitted testimony in support of this measure. We believe it's important for recruitment and retention of leadership positions within the Department of Law Enforcement that their leaders have the opportunity to remain in their Class A or Class B retirement plan and not suffer any negative consequence of joining the state in those positions. However, we do note that there are some issues with the language as it's currently drafted and would request that the committee defer decision-making to give us just a wee bit of time to work with the Employees Retirement System, Budget and Finance, and the AG's office to propose some language that will hopefully achieve what's intended with this measure. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Director, and I apologize for mispronouncing your first name. Sorry about that. Okay, that completes our list of registered testifiers. Is there anyone else that wishes to testify on SB 730? If not, members, questions? If not, we'll move on to our next item, which is SB 1383. This is relating to fire protection. First on our list is from the Office of the Governor, Will Kane. Okay. Director for DLIR, Director Butai.
Aloha, Chairs Aquino, Elefante, Vice Chairs Lee and Mokai, and committee members. Jade Butai for DLIR. We stand on our testimony in strong support. Fire safety is integral to disaster preparedness, whereas the DLIR mission is involved about strengthening workers, the workforce, transferring the State Fire Council and the State Fire Marshal to the DOD is more appropriate home as it aligns with their fire safety responsibilities and state's broader emergency response framework. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Okay, thank you, Director. From the Department of Defense, Adjutant General Stephen Logan. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. Aloha, Chair Elefante, Chair Aquino, Vice Chair Wakai, and Vice Chair Lee, and members of this committee. I'm Major General Steve Logan, the Adjutant General for the State of Hawaii Department of Defense and Director of the Hawaii Emergency Management Agency. The department stands on its written testimony already submitted, and I'll stand by to answer any questions that the committee members may have.
In support.
In support.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Chair for DLNR, Don Chang. Mr. Walker.
Aloha chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. My name is Michael Walker. I serve as the statewide fire protection forester for Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Forestry and Wildlife. The department supports the overall intent of the bill and has provided some comments and written testimony, and we would like to urge the Senate to reach out to the State Fire Council and discuss the details of the bill. I'm available for any questions you may have. I'm also the department's representative on the State Fire Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Jim Alberts from HECO. You can identify yourself, please.
Good afternoon, Chair Aquino, Chair Elefante, Vice Chair Wakai, and Vice Chair Lee. My name is Nancy, testifying on behalf of Hawai'i Electric. We stand on our testimony in support of this measure.
If you can say your last name as well for the record.
Bernal.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Ka'eo Duarte for Kamehameha Schools in support. And Leslie Dorr for the Hawaii Insurance Council in support. That completes our list of testifiers. Anyone else that wishes to testify on SB 1383? Okay, if not, you want to recess? Okay, any questions? Okay.
Okay, we're going to go straight into decision-making, if that's okay, colleagues. Okay, so up first, we have Senate Bill 470 relating to deferred retirement for police. This bill would establish a deferred retirement option program to allow qualified officers who are eligible for retirement to continue working. Members, the recommendation is to defer this measure indefinitely, mainly due to the concerns that have been posed by BNF as well as the IRS, as well as the Attorney General.
Okay. Same recommendation for PSM to defer indefinitely.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to Senate Bill 828 relating to workers' comp medical benefits. Members, the recommendation is to move this as a Senate Draft 1 with some technical amendments and a defective date of July 1st, 2050. Colleagues, any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, please.
Voting on Senate Bill 828, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair Aquino.
Aye.
I'll vote aye. Senator Ihara.
Aye.
Senator Moriwaki.
Aye.
And Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, recommendations adopted.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for Public Safety and Military Affairs, same recommendation to pass with amendments. Vice Chair Wakai for the vote. Chair votes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Decort.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you so much. SB 730 relating to allowance of service retirements. Hearing some concerns from several of the agencies, members, I'd like to postpone decision-making until Friday, February 7th at 3:15 p.m. in Conference Room 225.
Okay, Labor and Technology Committee, same recommendation, defer DM till Friday.
Okay. And our last item on our agenda is SB 1383. This is relating to fire protection. Recommendation here is to pass with amendments. We're going to accept the Hawaii Insurance Council suggested amendment on page 1 and 2 of their testimony by doing the following. On page 10, line 7 to 11, subsection 8A, the insurance commissioner as defined in section 4312-102 regarding insurance policy coverage provisions, underwriting standards, insurance rates, and any other insurance-related topic relevant to enhancing the protection of property from wildfire at a reasonable cost. And for the committee report, we're going to include a link to the Lahaina Fire Forward-Looking Report Phase 3, and then also include any technical amendments and keep the date as is. Okay. Any further discussion on the recommendation? Okay. If not, Vice Chair, Chair votes aye with amendments.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Rhodes.
Aye.
Senator Decort.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Labor and Technology Committee, same recommendation. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Voting on Senate Bill 1383, recommendation to pass with amendments, noting all members present. Are there any reservations or noes? If not, recommendation adopted.
Okay, Okay, thank you very much. This concludes our joint hearing. Thank you.
Patients, we're convening the Committee on Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs and our good friends from the Labor and Technology Committee on this Monday, February 3rd at 3:20 in the afternoon. We are all gathered in room 224. This hearing is being streamed live via YouTube. If there's any technical difficulties, we will post a public notice as to when we will reconvene. For testifiers, you will have 1 minute to testify on this measure. We have one measure on this agenda, that is Senate Bill 997 relating to energy. First in our testifiers list, we have Mark Glick from the State Office of Energy.
Good afternoon, chairs, vice chairs, senators. Cameron Black on behalf of the Hawaii State Energy Office. We stand on a written testimony in support of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. We have Hawai'i Lesit has submitted testimony in support. Anna Tuiasa Sopo, operating engineers, has submitted testimony in support. And we have Malama Min. Would you like to? Okay. And then members, we do have late testimony from the, what is this, Clean Power Alliance. I'm sorry, it just got to us. They've submitted testimony in support with a whole bunch of amendments suggested. Is there anyone else in the room that would like to testify on this measure? Yes.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Manuel Block here on behalf of the Labor testifying in support of this measure. And I have one more. Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Manuel Block here on behalf of the Congress senators testifying in support of this measure.
Wow, you have so many hats on today. Anyone else with a hat on, without a hat on, has an opinion on this measure? If not, members, any questions of those who have joined us today?
Oh, just one for the Energy Office, if I could.
Yep, Cameron.
Thanks. Real quick, this measure applies to large-scale renewable energy projects. There are other projects out there. Is there existing law that applies to everything else that's not large-scale renewable? In other words, just large-scale projects.
I believe, this is outside my area of expertise, but I believe there's a provision for public works projects here and under the HRS, but I could be mistaken on that. I don't know. I can't speak to the other types of projects.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I just meant in terms of energy projects, renewable versus non-renewable.
Oh, is there a provision for a non-renewable project similar to this? That I'm also not aware of. I believe one of the intents of this is to match it to the federal investment tax credit, or so that is directed primarily towards renewable energy, is my understanding. But I don't know if this is for fossil fuels too. I'm sorry about that.
Thanks. Thanks, Chair.
Sure. Yes, Senator Detroit.
So what will be the impacts on the cost of renewable energy projects if this bill passes?
No, we haven't done that analysis. We would have to go back and probably estimate what that could be. I'm not prepared. I don't have that in front of me, Senator.
Can you get back to us when
Yeah.
you figure that out? And then, do you know to what extent non-union contractors are doing large-scale renewable energy projects?
I don't, we've tried to take the informal poll about the number of workers in general, but we don't have the stats on what would be union versus non-union.
Can you get those?
We can try, yeah, we can try for both.
Yeah, can you get back to us? Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Members, any further questions? If not, we'll take a brief recess prior to taking the vote. Thank you for your patience. We're reconvening our Committee on Energy and Intergovernmental Affairs and our friends from the Committee on Labor and Technology for votes to be taken on Senate Bill 997 relating to energy. The two chairs have conferred, and we'd actually like to make this bill even better. And let me tell you how we're going to make it better. The State Energy Office has suggested that they like this other bill, 743, more than this particular bill, because the 743 has language in there for preferential energy rates for power producers that provide a prevailing wage. So instead of putting the contents of this bill into that one, we're going to grab the contents of that bill and put it in this one, since we're all here and happy to get moving. So members, we're going to take the contents of Section 2 of Senate Bill 743, which provides that preferential renewable energy rates for those who provide prevailing wages. Take the entire Section 2 and then put it as another section here in Senate Bill 997. And yeah, so that would be our suggested amendments. Any discussion? If not, Senator Chang, I vote yes.
Senate Bill 997, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator DeCoit?
Aye.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Favela? Is excused. The recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Labor and Technology, same recommendation. Questions or concerns? Seeing none. Vice Chair, for the vote, please.
Voting on Senate Bill 997, recommendation to pass with amendments. Chair Aquino?
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Ihara? Aye. Senator Moriwaki?
Aye.
And Senator Favela?
Is excused.
Chair, recommendation adopted.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned for this agenda. Okay, good afternoon. Okay, Committee on Labor and Technology has a 3:30 agenda. Okay, it's Monday, February 3rd still, and the conference room 224, Hawaii State Capitol. Okay, this meeting is being streamed live on YouTube. In the unlikely event that we have to abruptly end this hearing due to technical difficulties, the committee will reconvene to discuss any outstanding business on Friday, the 7th at 3 p.m., and a public notice will be posted on the legislature's website. And we do have a 2-minute testifiers limit. Okay. Thank you very much. Up first, we have Senate Bill 1360 relating to the ERS. Okay, up first, we have the ERS Executive Director Williams.
Good afternoon again, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. As has been noted, I'm Tom Williams. We stand on our written testimony in support of this bill. We encourage your favorable consideration. We view it largely as an administrative or housekeeping matter. We're attempting to conform ERS statutes with current IRS requirements. The IRS amends its requirements periodically to provide a required minimum distribution date, and we want to conform with IRS requirements in order to protect our tax exempt status. And I'm pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any others wishing to testify? Senate Bill 1360. Okay, seeing none, members, questions? Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 1361. Okay, again, relating to the ERS reporting review, employer reporting review. Okay, up first, we have the ERS Executive Director Williams.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. We stand again on our written testimony in support. We're attempting here to allow for a year extension of the period between our audit of employer contributions and the imposition of a penalty which the statute requires. Under current reading, under current statutory language, we will perform an audit and immediately have to impose a penalty if there is non-compliance. And what we want is to add a year in between such that there might be some opportunity for adjustments or corrections before a penalty would apply. So we view it as housekeeping and encourage your favorable consideration. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's all the written testimony we've received. Any others wishing to testify? Senate Bill 1361. Okay, seeing none. Members, any questions? Okay, no questions. Let's move on to the next measure, Senate Bill 340, relating to collective bargaining in public employment. Okay, this clarifies that the HLRB has the authority to enforce its own orders issued pursuant to state law governing collective bargaining in public employment, in addition to discretion to seek judicial enforcement of its orders under the Hawaii Employment Relations Act. Okay, up first, we have the Attorney General. Okay, welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair Keno and members of the committee. I'm Deputy Attorney General James Halverson. The Department of the Attorney General opposes this bill. This is inconsistent with the current statute that provides for a means by which the Hawaii Labor Relations Board can seek enforcement of its orders. We do not feel that it's consistent to have the two provisions at the same time.
Okay.
I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, up next, we have Interim Chair Dwight Takamine for the Hawaii Labor Relations Board.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be referring to the most senior member on the board.
Oh, okay, all right.
As crazy as that sounds. Good afternoon, Chair Aquino, Vice Chair Lee, Senator Moriwaki. This bill, in contrast to what was just said, 377.9 allows for discretionary enforcement where the board may seek and go to the circuit court for enforcement. Under 89.5, we already have the authority, even though it's not specific, to enforce our own orders, which we already do. And I wanted to add, while we stand by our testimony in support of this, one section that we did not add is under 377.9H, that when an appeal or judicial review is sought of one of our orders, it does not stay the enforcement of our orders. Meaning when you take judicial review to the circuit court, our order is still valid and enforceable. So this bill is simply a measure to clarify that we can either enforce our own orders, which we already do, or have the discretion under, as listed in 377.9, to go before the circuit court and enforce the orders. So I just wanted to add in that section, which lends further support to this bill, and we ask the committee to strongly consider it. Thank you, and if any questions, I'd be available to answer.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's all the written testimony that we have received. Any others wishing to testify? Senate Bill 340. Okay, seeing none. Colleagues, any
I
questions?
do have a question.
Okay, Senator Moriwaki.
Back up.
Okay, Labor
Both, I
Relations
think.
Board. I'll bring all three up.
All two of them. Come up. So you talk about the inconsistency, and yet HLRB says they're already enforcing their own orders. So which is which? And can we get some consistent standard in place so they can work faster, I guess? Maybe they want to work faster than AGs can provide services.
I disagree with the statement that they can already enforce their own orders. We've raised that issue, in fact, in a very recent case. I've been practicing before the Hawaii Labor Relations Board for almost 30 years, and every time there's been an enforcement action, the Hawaii Labor Relations Board took us to circuit court. Sometimes they prevailed, sometimes they didn't, but that's the way they went. I don't agree with Mr. Moniz in his statement that they currently have that authority. I think this is expanding that authority, and I think this is the reason that this bill has been submitted, is because they know they don't have that authority.
So, Mr. Moniz, what is the authority you currently have that you're doing and that you see you don't have the authority to do, and what will it improve if you have the authority?
Well, it improves it, and it gives with particularity what the board can do, because if you buy into this argument that every order that the board issues has to be enforced by the circuit court, that creates a burden on the circuit court, meaning every single order that has to go there. I'm sure the Attorney General's office, if there was a favorable decision
on their behalf, would be more than happy to have the board enforce its own order in their favor. This is a situation where 377.9 says we may go to the circuit court. Under 89.5, we can already take such actions as we deem necessary for our jurisdiction. And that's why this amendment simply clarifies. It's not adding or subtracting any type of authority. It's simply clarifying what we can do that's already there in the statute. And as I mentioned in 377.9H, if we enter an order, and even if a party seeks judicial review, it doesn't stay enforcement of the order. So this is simply just to clarify, it's not adding or subtracting any further authority.
So in what cases have you enforced your own orders? Is there a separation in terms of the kinds of cases so that we can clarify so that you're not stepping on each other's toes, I guess, in terms of getting an order enforced?
Well, we've been enforcing orders. I've been on the board now for a year and a half. We've been enforcing our own orders. We issue fines, we issue penalties for violations, and those have been enforced. We issue orders for contempt. Those have been enforced. So this is nothing, this is not changing the game. This has been consistent with the practices we've had. And it doesn't take away the right to judicial review. And that's why that opportunity is there. If the board issues a decision, issues a final decision and order, then the party who's adversely affected by that has the right to judicial review. And unless you file a motion to stay enforcement of the order with the board or with the circuit court, the order is enforceable. And that's already in 377.9. So we're just trying to specify here to remove any type of ambiguity and make it clear.
So you want Mr. Halverson, you want to say anything?
The idea that the board can issue orders regarding contempt is not legal. Contempt is a criminal prosecution. It's left up to the prosecutor's office. And yes, they have been issuing fines and sanctions against attorneys from my division for supposed failure to comply, which we also are contesting. That's up on appeal. We don't think that they should be using sanctions against attorneys for raising legal arguments.
So it seems that there can be some agreement as to what they can enforce and should be able to enforce quickly as versus what might be, as you say, criminal, that should be actually have the AG involved. Is there a way that you can look at this, the amendments, and see something that will be clear, so you have a clear sort of right line of what you folks can enforce in HLRB versus what then gets taken on appeal or taken, you know, in terms of criminal cases to the AG to take to court?
On behalf of the board, it's civil contempt, which is provided for already in the rules and in the statutes. And we don't find criminal contempt. And we get to issue violation. We get penalties up to $10,000. We can issue fines up to $500. That's already there. And I guess the contrary position is, if we enter an order, let's say in the middle of a case for, let's say, civil contempt, then the only way to enforce that order, according to the opposition, is that we would have to stop the case, take the case to circuit court for judicial review, stay the case before the board, then burden the circuit court with hearing this one order, whatever the decision there, have it sent back to the HLRB, continue with the further hearing, and then have every order subject to this, because if a party can simply say, we're not going to abide by your order because you don't have the right to enforce it, then the whole process just goes out of whack. And that's why you have judicial review. So this, again, this is not adding anything that's not already there.
If I might add, the flip side is also true. An appeal of a final decision and order means it has to be final and written before we can take it before court. To have the entire case having been heard, and meanwhile sanctions have been applied to the attorney or the department that may go on for quite some time before we can get a final decision from the board, before we can get judicial review. That's the reverse side of his argument, is we never get any meaningful review of the order because we have to wait until they finally issue the order, whenever that's going to be, and we don't get it before the court until they've issued their final order. And we've got no control over when they issue that final order.
Have you folks talked about this before coming before us?
The last hearing I had with the Hawaii Labor Relations Board, I raised this issue that you do not have, it was a motion to enforce. I said, you do not have the right to enforce this. And a member of the board said, yes, we do. I'm waiting for their decision on that. I haven't received it. But I have raised this issue at the last hearing I did in front of the Hawaii Labor Relations Board, saying you don't have authority. It was a motion to enforce by the complainant.
So because, not to belabor this, but it seems that there's something where you want to get the case moving along and have a decision. And then on the other hand, having you folks, AGs, wanting to have it done the way that it should be done, that there should be some way of having a compromise of those kinds of things. Maybe it's the kinds of cases and the level at which you would want to have that decided before the full case is heard and a full, all of the issues are resolved. But it seems to me that there's some things that you shouldn't hold them up if they're going to decide the case. And they should be abiding by having a good case to take forward to the circuit court if there's an appeal. But it seems that you folks need to talk through what kinds of cases and what are we talking about that doesn't seem to come through in the discussion between you right here.
If I'm hearing you correctly, I think you're suggesting that there are certain kinds of actions that are taken by either the claimant or the employer that is violative of their rules. For example, we don't show up, we don't file an answer, or procedural things like that. If they want to suggest that those kinds of things they can go ahead and enforce, that might be, but we haven't gotten any kind of suggestion like that.
Because it seems that there's only so many types of cases that you could start looking at that and having some agreement in terms of whether you need to change the law or whether you can approach it through procedural, agreements. But it seems that it would be really good to know what lane you're in, and it'll make life easier for even the claimants, knowing what they can do or not do can be done. So I don't know, Chair, I don't know if you want to give them some time to maybe talk about it and refer it so that they can try to resolve that.
We'll take that into consideration. Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, moving on to the next measure. Thank you. Okay, Senate Bill 1586. Okay, relating to the Hawaii Employer Union Health Benefits Trust Fund, Board of Trustees composition. Okay, up first we have BNF Director.
Chair, Vice Chair Louis Salisbury, Director of Finance, the Department stand in its testimony in opposition. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. Up next we have the Hawaii State Teachers Association. Okay, also TUI. Okay, in opposition. Up next we have the United Public Workers.
Chair, Vice Chair, Member, Kamakana County Local Government Affairs Manager, United Public Workers, stand on our written testimony and give in
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, up next, we have UPA Executive Director Christian Fern. Okay, thank you very much. Up next, we have HGA.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, and Mr. Master of HU. We'll stand on our written testimony, Sean.
Okay, thank you very much. Any others wishing to testify on Senate Bill 1586? Okay, seeing none, members, questions? Okay, no questions? Okay, moving on to the last measure on the agenda, Senate Bill 1503. Okay, related to workforce development, this would require DLIR to develop and implement training programs, public-private partnerships, funding opportunities, and recruitment strategies to develop a local workforce to meet the growing demand in defense-related personnel and promote economic diversification. Appropriates funds. Okay, up first we have the Hawaii Military Affairs Council. Okay, in support, okay, Jacob Weincheck. Okay, thank you very much. In support, next we have the Chamber of Commerce of Hawaii.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Tom Hoffman, Chamber of Commerce Hawaii, standing on testimony in support.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, DLIR Director.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, it's Mr. Moriwaki, DLIR, we stand on our testimony in support of the intent of the corporate council.
Okay, thank you very much. Any others wishing to testify? Okay, seeing none, members, questions? Okay, I have a quick question for the department. Thank you, Director, for being here. So specifically, the bill asks for $1 million appropriation, which would cover what type of expenses?
This is a, Chair, I mean, I can tell you that in the first year when we, for the internship program, we were able to fulfill the mandate, but let me ask Mary to come up and answer the questions because we didn't request for the $1 million appropriation, Chair.
Yeah, we understand, Director, but there's a specific appropriation that's tied to the bill. We would kind of expect that it's going to be used for certain expenses. So yeah, we just kind of wanted to know exactly what it could be used for, since it's going to be housed under, I believe, your division, under workforce development. So is there anything you folks would think of that would cover under this particular appropriation?
Chair, Vice Chair, Senator Moriwaki, it's probably going to cover the training costs for the participants, as well as some of DLIR's overhead costs.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Since you're here. So I know that you folks have had this program for a couple years now. So what is your annual cost of the program, and how many people have you had going through the internship program?
So far, we've served over the 2-year period, over 600 individuals that were placed in the internship program. And then of those, 62 were hired by various departments.
And what was your annual budget?
Our annual budget for the Heli'imua was about $4 million, Senator.
4 million, and you had 300 a year?
Mm-hmm. 330.
330.
330.
30 to the DOE.
So with the 1 million that is proposed to be appropriated, what is your expectation for outcomes? I mean, how many, if it's 4 million for 600, 4 million for 330, how many do you think that you will be able to service in terms?
We can get back to you on that, Senator, but right now it's $20 an hour per intern, and they're allowed to have 2 89-day appointments.
Do you have a evaluation of the program or some report of the program to date of the two years that you've had, of who was placed and what services were provided to them, so that we could compare with what this new tranche of money would be.
Yeah, we've been tracking where the internships are placed, in terms of which departments have hired them after the internship have ended. So we have those tracking mechanism.
So you wouldn't be, so if you had these funds appropriated to you folks, you could give us a report in terms of what the evaluation of the program is.
Correct.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to clarify, Director and Administrator, this is in particular possible public-private partnership internships with the defense industry, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
Senator.
Okay, thank you. Okay, members, any other questions? Seeing none, does you want to go ahead and vote? I know I want to. Yeah, we're going to recess briefly for decision making. Okay, reconvening our 3:30 agenda for decision-making, Committee on Labor and Technology. We'll be voting on about 5 bills. First, we have Senate Bill 1360, okay, relating to the ERS. Members, the recommendation is to pass this as is. Any questions or concerns? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote, please.
Voting on Senate Bill 1360, recommendation to pass as is. Chair Aquino?
Aye.
Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Ihara?
Aye.
Senator Moriwaki?
Aye.
And Senator Favela?
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. Moving on to Senate Bill 1361, okay, relating to the ERS's employer reporting review. Members, the recommendation is to move this also unamended. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Voting on Senate Bill 1361, recommendation to pass unamended, noting all members present. Are there any reservations or noes? If not, your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, members. Moving on to Senate Bill 340, relating to collective bargaining in public employment. We heard, a very lively discussion. Okay, I'd like to keep this bill moving for further consideration. Okay, so the recommendation is to move this as a Senate Draft 1. Okay, we'll be taking SMA's technical amendments for the purpose of clarity and consistency. I'm going to place a defective date. I believe the meat of the discussion that we've had today can be better discussed in the next committee as well. Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Voting on Senate Bill 340, the recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting all members present. Are there any reservations or noes? If not, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much, colleagues. Moving on to Senate Bill 1586, okay, relating to the Hawai'i UTF Board of Trustees composition. Members, the recommendation is to defer, mainly due to the fact that we haven't received one single testimony in support. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and defer indefinitely. Okay, on to the next measure, Senate Bill 1503, okay, relating to workforce development. Okay, this will require DLIR to develop and implement training programs specifically in public-private partnerships and funding opportunities. Okay, recruitment strategies specifically, again, for defense-related personnel and promote economic diversification. So members, the recommendation is to move this as a Senate Draft 1. Okay, we're going to take some technical amendments suggested by SMA. We're going to put a defective date of July 1st, 2050. We're going to place that appropriation language in the committee report. And we're also going to require reporting requirements 20 days prior to the 27th session and every other year thereafter. Okay. Any questions or concerns? Seeing none, Vice Chair.
Voting on Senate Bill 1503, the recommendation is to pass with amendments, noting all members present. Are there any reservations or noes? Seeing none, the recommendation is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. This concludes our 3:30 agenda. Thank you. We're adjourned.